Someone just turned 25. No, not Miley Cyrus. It's Microsoft Windows, and you're watching TechSpace. It was a long time ago. The computer I was using was a TA Adler Royale 286 with a math coprocessor and a 50 megabyte hard drive. We had the dot matrix printer and I was well ahead of the times and using Prodigy to get online. Anyhow, I was trying to find photos of the computer, but apparently Adler Royale only makes calculators now or something. In fact, a lot of what we used back then was forgotten, but not Windows. Back then, it was something you had to go out and buy and install yourself. When Windows 3 was released, they sold only a couple million copies, but now, with Windows pre-installed on most computers sold, hundreds of millions of copies are sold every year, and that still includes people going to the store and actually buying it. Impressive. Even I, as someone who's accused of being an Apple lover by viewers of the show, has both Mac OS X and Windows 7 machines. They both have their strengths and weaknesses, but that's not what this show is about. This episode is about nostalgia. Back when Windows was first gaining popularity, it was all about productivity. Running more than one application at the same time was intense, but for most people, running Solitaire, Minesweeper, and Mahjong was more intense. In the last 25 years, I went from this to this. Still gorgeous, I know. Not as big a stretch as Windows. Some of you might not remember, but Program Manager was the ancient ancestor of this start menu. Anyhow, without starting to sound like someone's grandpa, in my day, the clock app was all the graphical excitement one needed. Who doesn't like looking at old high school photos? So let's take a look at how the OS that's probably on your computer right now got through the more awkward years over the last quarter century. Look at this. This was the first ever version of Windows. There's a clock and a thing to write stuff in, and reversey, and that's about it. Windows 2.0 cleaned things up a bit, but wasn't really all that exciting. Now, Windows 3.11, this is when people really got into it. Not only did it help bring us more games, but it also had cooler commercials.
Microsoft makes software that makes computers work for you.
She practically had an orgasm using that mouse. Nice. Now, just when Granny thought things couldn't get any better, Windows 95 came out. Their ads were a little more intense. Yeah, you notice how there's not as many old people? This is about when old people started to call their children to help them fix their computer. Another thing that really started to heat up were smug Mac ads.
The Macintosh operating system, Windows 95. Although watching them run at the same time is not terribly special, watching them run from one computer is.
Anyhow, moving on, there were a few more versions. Windows ME, which sucked, Windows XP mopped up most of the mess, then Windows Vista was another lemon, and finally Windows 7, which we know and love today.
I'm going to make a slideshow.
The users got even younger and Asianer, but there's no denying that this is the best version of Windows yet. And as weird as it is to say so, the coolest. I mean, it's just an OS, but look at the neat things you can do with it. Now, why do these features exist? To show people how cool the new OS is. Because other than putting pretty touches on everything, Mac and OS PCs have been pretty much the same for the last 25 years. And you know what? Who cares what people say about the cloud? I don't mind using Windows and OS X locally. So, happy birthday, Windows. May you have many. Yeah, that was introduced with Windows 3 too. Thanks for watching. I'm James Papadopoulos, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and you smug Mac users, don't think you're better than the blue screen. Remember this crap? Yeah, you both suck equally.